me untie my shoes real quick.
No, we do the interview as you're untying your shoes, because then if you're just interviewing, you get nervous. But if you interview while you're doing something else, it's less.
All right, so let's pull it up. All right, here we go.
Oh, sweet. So we have Owen Boyle here, 126, coming down to 120.
Yep.
Lenape High School, senior, heading to E-Town, continuing the pipeline, adding my wife on LinkedIn, and going from there.
Betty, you want to move?
Betty, come here, over here. Rosie. Oh, no, you're good.
Rosie's chilling.
So you're a senior at Lenape this year. Tell me, what's your favorite conspiracy theory? I'm just kidding. Tell me how you got started in the sport.
So my oldest brother, Brian, he's 7 years older than me. He started wrestling like when I was like 2 and 3, and I was always at his matches. And obviously, like any older brother, I wanted to be like him. So as soon as when I was 4, like turning 5, that's when my parents started putting me in the sport, because they also needed a way to burn off all my energy because I was a crazy little kid.
Nice. Do you fast forward to senior year of high school, especially with like a lot of changes, right? Getting ready, all the thinking about college next year, and then like deciding to wrestle in college. Do you try to, think back to what got you started in wrestling and like the things that you have, and you wanted to come back after year 1 because you loved it. Obviously, like you're in the room too much. I feel like you're probably the number one person I'd have to kick out and say, hey, take a day off. But do you think it's important, like even in your later stages in life, to be cognizant of what got you started in wrestling and what kept you coming back?
Yeah, I think it is, but I also feel like it's more about like what keeps you happy. Like I think back to the times in wrestling where like I really enjoyed it. Obviously, like when I was little, like in middle school, like the exciting parts of it, and definitely like throughout the memorable parts of my high school career.
Yep.
Definitely keeps me pushing myself and definitely pushing my teammates.
Awesome. I'm going to jump ahead because one of my questions is actually about that.
Do you want me to open it up?
Yeah, I need that passcode.
Yeah, I'll turn off the music.
So a lot of times, I make a lot of comparisons between wrestling when I was in high school, like years ago, decades ago, versus high school wrestling now, and some of the changes I see. And, there was like a big emphasis on like getting extra work out. So like if coaches would say, hey, you got to put in the extra work. It was always individual. It was always go get a run, go get a lift, cut weight on your own. And I kind of see it differently now. Like kids genuinely love wrestling. It's usually like dragging each other to a room or getting to an open room, and guys like Lamb trained, and just having guys that love wrestling, going to get those workouts in. So do you think wrestling today, with all the extra work, the extra workouts you have to do to get better, the act of getting better, do you think it's maybe as individual as it used to be, or it's now kind of like taking a team effort?
I definitely think it's more like team effort, but like not even like high school team or like just like a specific club dual team. I think it's definitely more based off like the guys like around your weight from other schools in the area on your own team that like you just want to support, you drill with a lot, you wrestle with a lot, that you just want to see do good. Like you want to do good, you want to succeed, you want to see them succeed. So you're definitely dragging them to practices.
That's perfect. I know it's always tough. You have like a lot of close-knit teammates and club teammates and guys from different schools that you're inevitably going to compete against. But I think I heard a quote the other day. I forget who it was, but he said, the skills that you have in wrestling now, they're only going to be valuable to you for the next 4 or 5 years. And after that, it's really not about your wrestling skill set, but kind of the things that you took from wrestling. So like your work ethic and, being a team player and kind of motivating others. I think that definitely helps out a lot. So I guess like, Betty, can you get the hell out of the shot? Betty, come here. Betty, come here. Over here.
Betty right in the middle.
Betty. And then never comes to practice. So I guess like this is kind of like a twofold question, but with the way that kind of the requirements that you need to get better at wrestling, but also like truly enjoy the sport and avoid burnout. What advice do you have to kids that are first getting into the sport? Whether it's youth or middle school even. And then the second part to that question would be, what advice do you have when you're jumping levels, getting into high school?
I definitely think when like you're younger in youth and middle school, it's more about like finding like love and passion for the sport, because that'll push you a lot farther than like just having a good work ethic. because if you have a good work ethic, you're not going to want to go to those practices, and you might force yourself to, but you're not going to be getting in the type of work that you could be getting in if you were truly in love with the sport.
Definitely.
So I feel like if you truly fall in love with the sport when you're younger,
you got to be kidding me,
if you fall in love with the sport when you're younger, I feel like that could push you a lot more because you're going to want to succeed more with the sport, and you're going to want to push yourself a lot farther when it comes to high school. Part two.
We got the stool is nice. I was looking for my tripod. I couldn't find it. I was just so pissed at Rosie. I mean, Betty. I get it, though. She's a dog. And now she's nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
Betty.
Where'd she disappear to?
So where we left off, I remember I was asking, I think, like, what were your most memorable matches? And it was good stuff, right? You talked about Burlington County Open, right? I think you avenged a loss, which is a good one.
I got pinned, and I ended up beating him in overtime.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then and the other one was when you came back from injury, right?
Yeah, that was another good one.
I know we're kind of going out of order here, but when I did that interview with Vinny, right, he said he didn't really grow up with any of the kids that he's wrestling in matches because he's so new to the sport. And these are kids that you've probably grown up with over and over again.
Oh yeah, I know so many kids from wrestling.
I think that makes it a little bit tougher because
I agree.
You're wrestling the same kids, and if you might feel that you got better over the summer, and then you wrestle somebody else who maybe got really good over the summer, and it kind of then negates all the work you put in, or at least mentally, to say,
yeah.
Oh,
I feel like what's harder about it is like a lot of them are like my friends.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I spend like at school, like I hang out with my school friends, and like out of school, like at like school events, like dances, football games, basketball games, like all that stuff, and like elsewhere too. But like a lot of the time, I'm just hanging out with like wrestling people because I wrestle so much. Like I'm wrestling every day during the week, during season, and pretty much out of season too. I'm wrestling 4 to 5 days a week, so I spend more time around them, and I feel like I'm a little bit closer with them than I am some of my school friends.
It's at least in my experience, it's weird because you you grow up with these kids and you're friendly with them, and then you compete against them. It's always awkward, and
it's always hard.
Even as a coach, I hate it. You have two guys that are working so hard, and ultimately somebody does have to win and somebody has to lose, and maybe like as a society, or even just I think it's just human nature to say like, oh, if we won, we succeeded. If we lost, we failed. And that's not really the case.
No.
It's we kind of agree on this. We don't really have to preach on it, but okay, well, what's the main part of your life in front of you is wrestling, and yeah, it's wrestling, and it's okay. Well, I'm training to be the best at the current thing in my life, which is wrestling, and I feel like you fast forward 10, 15, 20 years, and we don't have wrestling anymore, but you look at them and say, okay, what do you have in your life right now? What's the most important things? And it's your family. And, you never really get rid of that wrestler mindset. And it's, I want to be the best version of myself in whatever is the most important part of my life. So I look around and, guys I competed against, and, you kind of have like not necessarily a strengthened bond, but like a deeper understanding and like, or a amount of respect for someone, a connection with someone because they wrestled. That they were a hard worker in wrestling. They're probably a good person. They're going to be a good father, and so your idea about like you have your school friends versus your your wrestling friends is the older you get, you're going to have, at least in my experience, you kind of veer more towards people that kind of have that competitive mindset where that's they're going to get better and continue to get better and be the best version of themselves at whatever that stage of life that they're in. So. I was going to ask you about, like when you see so many familiar faces, like BC Open and local tournaments and all that, districts, regions, and I know it's you're kind of using.
I wouldn't say districts and regions are local tournaments anymore.
NJSA, fuck that one up.
Yeah, school hour and a half away is kind of crazy.
It's tough to like really determine how much better you're getting. So like I'm biased when I say that I like the Creekside tournaments because we go all over, right? We go to South Carolina, Ohio, and
I like traveling.
You wrestle guys that
because then you also don't have any clue over them unless you look into it, which I don't like looking into who I'm wrestling. I feel like it messes up with my head before matches. But like, and that's like obviously what makes it harder wrestling local guys because you already know stuff about them. But when we travel, we don't know anything about them. Like I think I wrestled a South Carolina state champ
Yeah.
down when we went to Myrtle Beach last year, and I ended up beating him. So it was like cool, and obviously like the level of competition's different at places, but like it's still a state champ.
Yeah, exactly. And the later, the older you get in life, you come across stuff, and you can't really look up things to compare yourself against someone. And whether it's like a job or like getting married or really anything, being like
Got to build the best Tinder profile.
we did like best Tinder profile or like being the best, like the coolest dad or something, the best elementary school dad. You don't really have the resources, or like you can't research someone and say, okay, well this person is here, I just need to be a little bit better. It's like becoming your best. I guess like my question on that with hey honey, you want to pop in the interview? All right. Yeah, I know. So like especially with all the familiarity, I know you talked about like your injury and coming back from that, and that was really like a milestone and kind of
that was like a big thing because like my freshman year was kind of like, it was like hard. It was like I had like a good freshman season, I would say, better than like a lot of freshmen, but I also just didn't live up to what I wanted to do, and I had a lot of high expectations for myself, and then I put a lot of work in the off season, and then facing that injury, it just felt like more pressure to come back and be better, because everybody was expecting a lot of me freshman year, and then they're like, oh, like he didn't do it this year, he's got to do it next year. So coming back and then succeeding at a high level again, and even a higher level than the year before, I felt like was a big thing.
I know it sucks at the time, but do you think like maybe having that added adversity really helps, with your self development and like
I think it definitely helps with like my development as a wrestler, but also like my maturity level. Because like for a solid week, I think it was, I didn't know what was like wrong with my knee, because for the first trainer, when the trainer first looked at it, and when I first went to the like the urgent care for the orthopedics, and even the first doctor's appointment officially before I got my MRI, they couldn't tell what it was because my hamstrings were too tight, my calf was too tight, my quads were too tight to feel anything.
Yeah.
And they're like, it seems like it's probably like ACL. And I was like, I thought I was done for the next 9 months. So it was like hard dealing with that. And then getting the relief that it was only like, I was only out 2 weeks. And then being able to bounce back 2 weeks after surgery, I was able to bounce back. And it was like super awesome. And it also helped like my maturity, realizing that not everything's for granted, and that if I want to be best at this, I got to put in the work, but I also got to be grateful for everything that I have accomplished.
That's perfect.
And I feel like they came into light, like, especially last year too, because I don't know.
Sure you don't want to pop
in? I don't know how much like you know about it, but like I was going through some hard times mentally last year, like around middle of the season, like with weight cutting, not like just weight cutting, but like also like the pressure of school, because it was like the pressure of weight cutting was making me not want to wrestle in college, and then like the pressure of school was hard because I was like, oh, if I'm not going to wrestle in college, well, I really need to focus on my school, and then it was struggling to make weight, and then it was just like a whole bunch of stuff at the end of the semester. It made it really hard mentally to like push through.
It's like junior year especially. It's
just
junior kind of the reality of everything sets in. Yeah.
And then after that semester end, like I really like, I don't know what happened. Like it like a switch clicked, I guess, after Burlco, because like that week was very difficult for me in Morristown. It was like the week before those 2 weeks were the brutal, because we had Absegami on Wednesday, but the Tuesday before Absegami, there was a school shooter threat, so we couldn't have practice, so we got a +1 for Absegami, and then they wouldn't give us another +1 the next day because it was already at +2 on top of the 2-pound allowance, and then we had a day off, but it was a travel day, and we had like a practice, but then we had back to scratch 122, and then the next Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday we had to make weight. Ugh. It was like brutal.
That's awful. I guess jumping ahead. Well, maybe not jumping ahead yet, but yeah, because I remember you started coming here probably January,
I think it was.
right?
I think it was right after BC Open.
Right
Like
after.
I think it was literally the day after, either the day after or the week after the BC Open. I think I started coming.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that. I remember, I think I posted like, and this was funny. This was
I
last
think it
year
was a
when
snow day.
it might have been a snow
I
day.
think it was
Yeah,
a snow day.
and I consistently had like
Like
two
four,
guys,
yeah, 2 to 4 guys.
two
in
to four
here.
guys. I know it was like Aiden who was always here, and then Blake, and then whoever trickled in. So I was
Dom was here a little bit,
yeah
but
I
he
was
started coming more. Like I think once I started popping in.
yeah. No, it's good. I mean, I'm obviously very appreciative of that. I was psyched when I saw your name pop up, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like, yeah, well, absolutely, you can come work out. I do remember, like last year, I think you took a loss to maybe it might have been Seneca.
Yeah.
Um,
At the BC Open.
it was the BC Open, okay.
Yeah, that was
And
because I majored him in our district quad.
that's what it was.
And then I lost to him like 4-2. I think it was at BC Open finals, and it was like right in that stretch, like hard stretch.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that you lost, and then you didn't come to practice the next day, and I was like, I really didn't know you that well at the time, and I was thinking, all right, this could go one of two ways. Like this is like a debilitating loss, and we might not see him the rest of the year, or he's just kind of like taking a reset. And I guess like jumping ahead, like just over a year, between like. Again, it was just one match, a loss. But like between that loss and coming back, I know you avenged that loss later in the season.
Yeah.
And then like maybe using the knee injury as an example. I guess again another 2-part question. Do you think you would be where you are now if those scenarios didn't happen? And then the second part of that would be, like how's your mindset kind of changed senior year? At least from my perspective, you kind of seem like a little bit more free and, not like accepting of things that happen. Like you still control your destiny, but kind of like understanding that things that happen, positive or negative, are just going to be part of the process. And we're kind of just pushing for one goal.
I think of it now, like those things that happened, like I think they definitely shaped this, but my like belief on it is now you look back on something, you can't change what happened, but you can change how you bounce back from it. And we were just talking about this in our high school room because we lost to Cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't have.
We'll cut that one out.
Yeah, we shouldn't have. But and our coach was like, he literally said there's 1 of 2 ways you can bounce back from this. We can accept the little losses and become a loser, or you can push yourself to be better and bounce back stronger than ever. And I feel like that's definitely like how my mindset is. Like I had to wrestle a tough kid earlier in the year. It's my only loss in the season, and I didn't wrestle. Like I wrestled tough, but I didn't wrestle as good as I wanted to. So you just got to get back to the practice room. You got to work harder, obviously, but you got to push yourself to get the technique better because it's not just about how hard you work; it's about how smart you work too. I think is definitely one of the biggest things because you could be balls to the wall, like a hard ass worker, but if you're just doing like dumb stuff, like if you're not drilling properly, but you're drilling hard, like you're still not getting any better. Like you're pushing yourself, but you're not getting better technique.
That's the individual part of the sport that I think people just kind of give this blanket statement and say that, oh, wrestling's an individual sport. Well, yeah, of course it is. You're the only one that goes out and competes. But I
feel like it's more of like a partner sport.
Yeah,
like
it's a partner sport.
People say it's a team sport. I think it's a partner sport.
It's a partner sport.
Because there's definitely like team aspect to it. There's individual aspect to it. But if you're getting better, your partner should be getting better. And if he's not getting better, then you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Because like I was working with Talon this week on Thursday, and the one thing we noticed from his matches recently is he's hanging on the collar. And I was talking to my coaches about it actually, and like he was doing it in practice, and I was trying to like work him towards not hanging on the collar without directly saying it, and he wasn't getting any of the hints. So I was like, Talon, stop hanging on the collar, because he has no offense from it. But I feel like if you're going to getting better, like your partner's going to be getting better. And if you two can get better, then you can definitely push a team to get better.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's people helping people. You helping him, it's going to he'll be grateful for that. And then you also helping him, he's going to become a better partner. And
then he'll be able to help other partners in live.
Exactly. Yeah, compounding effect. Who said the quote about you can lose and then be losers, or you can come back from it?
That was Eastlick.
Yeah.
I didn't. No, Eastlick's actually had some pretty good quotes. The one time, what was it? Oh my goodness! It was before Regions last year. He had this quote, and I forget how exactly it goes, but it was right before we rest. No, it was the practice before. It was that Thursday practice before. I think we had some Seneca guys and some Morristown guys in there, and he was like, you know, this could be the end of your year. This could be the end of your career. What you got to do is, you're looking to make it to AC. How do you make it to AC? Put all the chips in. Go all in. You got nothing to lose. I was like, I was feeling it. It was good. It was great.
That is good. Do you think maybe his quote started coming around right around the same time as ChatGPT? Do you think maybe he goes like, hey Chat, give me a AC related motivational quote. Heavy emphasis on casinos and chips and going all in. No, I like Eastlick though. He's the man.
Eastlick's great.
Cool, good stuff. Resonate the same thing as last week. I'm excited for you. I think we're still in the grind of the season, but we got the right mindset.
We're always in the grind.
Always in the grinds. When we have our goals and whether or not we reach them, we're still going to be.
We got new goals.
New goals. Exactly. Cool. Part 2. Appreciate it. Thank you. Fucking Betty.